All right, it fired it right off. It didn't need the force start at all. Good job, LokiThor. There can be only one. Our friends at LokiThor here have put out another crazy battery jump starter. This is the JTC4250, and not only is it a 4,250 amp lithium iron phosphate jump starter, but it's also a 6 amp battery charger and a battery tester too. It's got a 300 lumen light, a PD60 fast charger, and it's IP65 waterproof. The battery tester has a cranking test, a charging test, and just a standard battery test. That's kind of neat. We're gonna have to check all that out. And the battery charger does lead acid and lithium iron phosphate. Let's get this thing open and see what she looks like. Oh wow, it's a beefy girl. Looks like we have a little bag. This is obviously not going to be big enough for the whole thing, probably just the clamps and whatnot. Here's the clamps right here, and there's some pretty good sized clamps. I feel like they have a lot of spring tension. Ow, geez, yeah, that's a lot of spring tension on them. They're going to clamp real good. We have a little charging cable and a USB-C charging cable. The manual, we might check that out in a minute. Got your standard seasoning packet, and then this beefy boy. It's got a nice rugged handle to it, and this thing is like pretty thick and it's kind of springy up top. Obviously, here's the big old light in the front. Nice green sticker, tells you what it is in case you forget. On the bottom here, you have some specifications. You can pause and take a look at those if you want. And over here, it's kind of nice. You have some troubleshooting steps in case you get some of these error codes. So over on this side here, you have your USB plugs, and then here is where you plug in your clamps. And then on the side over here, this is where you would plug in the wall outlet. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on though and see what we have. Okay, so now this is actually really cool. It's kind of faint to see on here, but you can actually see that it's telling you the resistance of the clamps. That's actually a really awesome feature to have because you want to make sure your clamps are making good connection before you start to charge a battery or to jumpstart something. And I'm guessing this is our little battery meter, like over here. Yeah, according to this, it should be 5 bars and we only have 3, but maybe we can still try this thing out before having to charge it all the way up. Well, let's hit the little menu button here, see what we have. Oh, that's really cool. You can just go to force start like right here on the menu. We'll go ahead and select jump start, and then you can scroll down to force start, hit the confirm. And yeah, you want to make sure that your clamps aren't touching anything they're not supposed to be because it's basically going to short out if they are. But we'll go ahead and confirm. And yeah, I heard this thing click, and obviously it's outputting full voltage to the clamps right now. That force start feature is pretty important for jump starting cars because a lot of times if a battery is too dead, a lot of jump starters can't crank it over, but that force start gives it the full chooch. But we'll go ahead and hit the X to cancel out of that. We just hit the X there to go back to the main menu, and then you can see we scroll through the menu like this. This is really cool. The battery charger has a normal charge, a force charge, and a repair charge. And obviously if you have a sulfated battery or something, this thing will hopefully try to repair it. And if you have a battery that's like just too low, you can use this force charge mode, but the force charge mode, kind of like the force jump start, kind of disable some of the safeties, so be careful using that mode. And here we have our battery tests, the standard battery test, a cranking test, and a charging test. And I'm just kind of curious. We'll definitely have to check that out in a minute. I'm really interested to see how that goes. And oh, that's cool. This thing has a power supply mode. Oh, that is so cool. You can actually adjust the voltage that it's going to output. What? It goes up to 20 volts? That's freaking crazy. That is so cool. They didn't even advertise that feature, but it's in there, and it goes as low as 5 volts. Wow, that's really cool. I was not expecting that at all. Okay, that's a pretty rad feature. And you can select the amperage too. Does that mean it could do like a constant current output? 5 amps is the highest it'll go, and then down to 1 amp. Wow. Ah, that's really cool. And you get this cool little screen like whenever it's going to, and it shows you like your current voltage and your current amps. Nah, that's really neat. Let's go down to settings. You can change your language, which, you know, I'm not going to do, and we'll just take a look at the version. It gives you your version number or whatever. I don't think there's any way to update this thing or anything, so, you know, I mean, why would you if everything's working right? Another cool thing about this guy is it'll charge off of both the wall power or USB-C, and as soon as I plugged it into the wall, it started charging up. But yeah, I've got it hooked up to this battery here, and this battery is a little bit of an older battery, but you can kind of see how the resistance changes on the clamps. Like it was saying it was like, what, 1.2, and I just kind of wiggled it around a little bit, and it dropped down. You know, if you give it a little bit of a wiggle, you break that corrosion that might be on the terminal. Now let's give the negative a wiggle. Let's see if it does the same thing. Not really. Yeah, this one's just higher for some reason. There we go. It went down just a little bit. But I'm guessing if it was a problem, it would tell you, probably like show you to you in red or something like that. But I figured the first thing that we could do is just check out the battery test. This is a regular flooded lead acid, and we will set the cranking amps, and it is a 750. So let's get that up to 750. There we go. Okay, I'll go ahead and hit enter, and it's testing. Oh, average battery performance. Yeah, this thing is kind of old. I mean, I think it's in okay health, but not that great. But it's kind of cool that it shows you the internal resistance, and it's got a 60% state of health and an 85% state of charge. I'm actually surprised it has that much charge to it. But anyway, let's back out of here. And you can see on the battery test, it does like regular flooded lead acid, AGM spiral, gel. What else does it do? And EFB. Okay. Let's back out of here, go up to battery charging, and let's just go ahead and do the normal charge, see what it does. Here we'll scroll through the different types, 12 volt regular, 12 volt AGM, 12 volt, lithium phosphate, and then a 6 volt regular and a 6 volt AGM. Okay, but yeah, we'll do 12 volt regular, and let's just go ahead and crank this thing up to the max, which is 6 amps. And I'll go ahead and hit it. It's kind of nice. It's showing you the voltage, and it's showing you the current amps that it's putting out, as well as showing you the percentage of the current charge. Let's see if we can verify those amps real quick. All right, I hope you can actually see the screen here because it says it's jumped up to 5.9 amps. But let's go ahead and take the clamp meter here and click that on there. Okay, well, according to the clamp meter, it's doing 6.7 amps. So that's pretty darn good. I guess it's like a little underrated or something. And of course, like this clamp meter might not be the most accurate, I don't know. Although it's served me pretty good in the past. But yeah, I mean, it's only been like a minute and it's gone from 85% charge to 95%. So that's pretty darn good. I'm really hoping you guys can see that on the camera. It's not just washed out. The display actually looks nice and clear in person. So I hope that's coming through on the camera. All right, here you go. I adjusted the metering of the camera so that you can see the display a little bit better. And you know, it's a nice little display. I like it a lot. But hey, let's test out that battery tester on a few other chemistries. All right, I've got it hooked up to an Optima Spiral AGM here, and we will set this to AGM Spiral. Confirm that. Cold cranking amps, they're set to 800. All right, testing. All right, good battery. It's 100% healthy and 100% state of charge. All right, so now I got it hooked up to a AGM flat plate, and I got the AGM flat plate selected here, and we'll do cranking amps. It's also 800. Go ahead and test this guy. Needs charging, huh? Yeah, I don't know about that. It says the state of health is 100%. I know this battery shouldn't be 100%, but it also says the state of charge is 100%, so that's a little strange. I mean, look at the internal resistance on this guy. Yeah, I don't know. I would say this is not a great result. I was really expecting it to tell me that this battery is no good, because how can it be at 100% state of charge and be at 11.1 volts, you know? And that internal resistance is not good, so... You know what, let's see what an actual battery tester will say. That way we can give it a comparison here. AGM flat plate, cranking amps, all the way up to 800. Okie dokie, now we're testing. Yeah, this thing says the state of charge is 0 and the measured cranking amps is 28. That's ridiculous. You know, it got the resistance kind of close. Like this one says it's 88.8. And this guy down here said it was 96.38. I mean, either way, that's terrible. So yeah, I don't know what the battery tester down here is thinking, but I don't know. If you ever see a resistance like that, the battery's bad. Like, don't even try. Well, let's go ahead and see how this thing does as a jump starter. All right, I got it hooked up to my tractor now, and I know the battery in this thing is dead, but you know what? Let's just go ahead and, yeah, in fact, you can see the voltage is 7.6. I mean, obviously this battery's dead. And that's why it makes a great test platform for jump starters. But we should go ahead and do a battery test just to see what's going to happen. Oh, and that's kind of nice. It actually remembered your last parameters in here. But we're going to change the cranking amps to 660 and go ahead and hit the test. Yeah, I don't know about this battery tester because it's kind of giving us some weird readings here. It says the state of health is 100%. That should not be correct. This thing should be 0%. And the state of charge is 100% too, which I don't know what it's doing here. It's kind of unfortunate, you know. I'll definitely check the other charging test and whatnot here in a minute. Yeah, let's go ahead and back out of this battery test. I'm not impressed with that. Anyway, let's go to jump start. And you know, a lot of times the tractor here, it requires the force start. But we'll try just the normal start and see what happens. All right, it fired it right off. It didn't need the force start at all. Good job, LokiThor. Yeah, that is really impressive because a lot of times the tractor, it just has to have the force start, but I guess those 4,000 amps like really send it to it. Oh, and I should point out that while we were charging it a while ago, it went from 3 bars up to 4 on the battery health of this guy, and just cranking this thing over didn't change it at all. It's still at 4 bars, so that's good. All right, I want to point out to you guys what I was talking about earlier about how the clamps can have different resistances. It's saying the positive clamp is good, it's got low resistance, but the negative clamp has high resistance over here, and it's obviously showing in red. You wouldn't want to try to jumpstart the car with your clamp like this, or like do any of your battery tests or anything like that. You know, I kind of demonstrated that just by putting it on like this bolt. And I know the bolt is like really corroded. And you can see like as I'm wiggling it around, yeah, as I break through that corrosion, your resistance actually goes down. We probably want to get it on a more meaty part of the cable and wiggle it around until that resistance gets as low as it'll go. So yeah, let's go ahead and maybe just test the battery. I know the battery in this guy is kind of okay. It's flooded and it's 650 cranking amps. Let's go ahead and test it. Average battery, yep, it says the state of health is 37%. That's kind of not good at all. State of charge is 92 though. So let's go ahead and back out of this and let's try to do the cranking test, shall we? Go ahead and get that going. It says start the vehicle. Go ahead and crank her up. Yeah, of course, you know, the multi-air brick. It's, yeah, there we go. It went on the second try. You know, when you let these things sit for a while, the multi-air brick like drains out of oil and you have to crank it a few times to get it to go. But yeah, that's nice. It says good battery performance. So it passed the cranking test. Now let's back out of here and we'll try the charging test. It says before doing the test, engage all loads. So I'll turn the lights on, the AC, the radio, and all that other stuff. And then I'll hit this. Okay, we got everything going. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit it and then we'll have to run in there and bring the revs up. It said it wanted the revs between 2,500 and 3,000. And we're supposed to hold it here for 60 seconds. And you know, I guess, don't really know. We'll have to just count in our head, I guess. Yeah, all right. I think it's been 60 seconds now. Let's go check a look. Oh no, generator voltage low. That's not good. The initial voltage is 12.7, average voltage is 12.98, and the upper voltage is 13.25. Well, you know, I kind of have a suspicion that these things like always chronically undercharge batteries. And that's why a lot of you guys have battery problems in these things. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's something I gotta look into on this car. But yeah, you know, this thing is pretty darn cool. And like I was saying earlier, like this clamp feature, that should be essential for all jump starters. You know, you really do want to know for sure if your clamps are making good connections before trying to use these guys. But yeah, I'd say this thing is pretty darn impressive. If you want to get one for yourself, there'll be a link for it down in the description below. Well, bye. Thanks for watching. Oh, and I guess I should try out the light here. You just hold it down and the light comes on. And yeah, I mean, look at that. It lights up the engine bay pretty nice. Nice effective light. And then do you just press it? Oh, you press it and it has like different illumination levels? Really? Oh, and it's got a blinky too? Okay, whoa, it's SOS. And it's got an orange flash? What? Okay, then it finally goes off. But yeah, cool. You can kind of see how dark it is. I'm gonna hold it down, turn it back on. Yeah, there you go. I guess that's high, medium, low. Yeah, that's still low. And then the blinky and then the orange flash. Okay, cool. Well, there you go.